Hey Shiv, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this call. Nice to see you online.
Nice to see you as well. It's always a good day when I get to see Gil.
Uh, uh, so yeah, I've been doing these interviews with our successful past clients because I love to get some insight into your experiences. A lot of people do get interested in the program. They see a fantastic before and after, such as yourself. And but they don't really understand what it's all about. They think it's some exercise program or some
Yeah.
strict diet and all sorts of meal planning, but it's not anything like that. So I just like to talk to real individuals who've done it to get their opinion and insight. So hopefully, if someone is interested, they can get a better understanding of what we do and perhaps help them.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so just for those who don't know you, can you give a little bit of an introduction, who you are, where you are, what you do?
Sure. My name's Shivani. I joined Mighty Transformation in 2020. I work in the hospital. I'm a respiratory therapist, so always busy, always on my feet, always running around and that sort of thing. But yeah, that's what I do for my full-time job, and then a little bit about me. I'm also in the salsa scene, like a lot of the MT family as well. So that's kind of one of my passions that I enjoy dancing as well.
Yes, thanks, Shiv. So just curious, before you joined, what were the things that you were struggling with or you had trouble with?
Yeah, so I would say like I've never really had to worry about my weight or anything like that when I was in my younger years. So I kind of just figured that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life, which was not true. And so when just before I joined Mighty Transformation, there was a period of time where I had put on a bit of weight, and I had been trying a lot of different things, whether it be from changing my diet to exercising. Um, and I felt like I had to put a whole lot of effort in, and I wasn't really seeing the results that I was looking for. And then so I started doing some research on my own.
When you say effort, can you expand on that? Was it in terms of eating a certain way or exercising a certain way?
I think it was a little bit of both. So, unfortunately, if you don't do your own research, I feel with weight loss, then a lot of us have these kind of myths that we have in our head. And one of them, I know for me, was a big one, which was like cut out carbs and you'll lose weight. So, one of the things that I did, obviously, when I was first trying to lose weight, was I cut out all my carbs. And I noticed like I was getting really lethargic. I wasn't feeling the best. And I realized I was like, this for me is not sustainable. And then so I started going back to like eating a little bit more carbs, but I really relied heavily on exercise. So there was a period of time where I think I was going to the gym at least 5 times a day, and I would just try and spend at least an hour and a half to 2 hours at the gym each time. And I would work hard. Like I wouldn't just go and, walk on a treadmill. I would do cardio, I would do weights, I would do stretching afterwards. And I think for the amount of time and effort I was putting in, I think I did see some changes, but it was nothing close to what I was aiming for.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So that's the saying that when people say hard work pays off or no pain, no gain. I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Yes, you can work hard, but if you don't work smart or effective, you won't see those results.
I
Or yeah,
yeah. I think that's a really good point, which is that you can still work hard, but if you're not working hard towards the right thing, or if it's not, like you said, like if it's not smart, then you're just working hard and there's nothing else out of that.
yeah, unfortunately, right? So
Yeah.
this was a
Yeah.
struggle that everyone has, even myself. When I was
Mhm.
going through my own transformation,
Mhm.
I did a lot of transformations in the past when I couldn't figure it out, and I did rely heavily on exercise. And it's great
Yeah,
at the beginning when there's high willpower and motivation, but when it's
exactly.
it completely fades, especially as you said, the results aren't as much as what you expected for the effort that you're putting in.
And I think another thing for me as well, and we all talk about this, is motivation, right? So when you know that you need to spend an hour and a half or 2 hours at the gym, your motivation is kind of like, oh man, like, do I really want to do this? But then you fight with yourself and you're like, no, because this is my goal. I have to do it. And so it just becomes this kind of back and forth thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I wanted to take away or remove on a journey like this. Of course,
Mm,
there's still work to be done, and I won't say there's any shortcuts, but there's ways to make it easier and more enjoyable without having to punish yourself or put in so much effort like that. And that's kind
really.
of what I wanted to do. And I feel like, well, you accomplished it because you did it pretty much on a nutrition only approach, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So how did you, okay, I guess, yeah, we're in the salsa scene. So how did you find me? Was there someone that inspired you to say, yo, you know what? Okay, yeah, this guild guy, Mighty Transformation, but was there someone there that says
Yeah.
that sparked
So
it?
your name, I think, had been floating around in the South scene for a while because I have a lot of friends on Facebook that I would see like, oh, what's this mighty transformation thing? And I saw something about weight loss, but I think the biggest thing for me, or like the thing that pushed me the most, was one of my friends that was in the salsa scene. And I've actually known him for quite some time. And early on, when I met him, he had gone through some health scares. And I started seeing that he was on this regimen where he was doing, like, I think cardiac rehab, but also he was doing this nutrition forward program, which was Mighty Transformation. And he just, it was mind boggling to me how well he had progressed. And so I reached out to him and I basically said, I'm looking at doing this. I've tried a bunch of things, and this is something that I'd be interested in because it seems like, it's not just a weight loss program, but it seems like there's some education part to it. And I basically just said to him, do you recommend this? And he didn't even hesitate. He was like, Shivani, I I guarantee you this is probably one of the best decisions you'll ever make. And I trust him so wholeheartedly that I just said, all right, if you say it, I'm in. And then
Tight
that's
shit.
what started my whole journey.
Yay. Well, that's Rob. Thank you so much, Rob. I gotta get him on this too. He's been busy,
Of
but I want
course.
to interview him as well. But yeah, he
Of
did
course.
fantastic. I was actually very worried to coach him just because of all the conditions that he was going through, and I thought it would
Definitely.
be out of scope. But after consulting with him and getting the doctor's approval, and of course, just doing it on a very safe, sustainable way, and he lost over 100 pounds and uh,
Amazing.
got
And
rid of his medications. Yeah,
I think the other thing that kind of resonated with me because I'm a healthcare professional is the fact that, his weight loss, yes, obviously he needed to lose weight because that was what was kind of told to him. But the other thing is it wasn't just weight loss with him, right? Like we had some conversations and his health just, it improved drastically. So, to understand that even these kind of programs, it's not just about weight, but it's also about living a healthier lifestyle almost in that sense, and giving your health back to yourself, right?
yeah, very good point. So that's what I mean. Like when people see these before and afters, they always think, "Okay, can I lose this weight on this program? What am I doing?" Like, yeah, I mean that's
Mhm.
the tip. Like, of
Mhm.
course, weight loss is part of the results you'll get, but I always say, we don't focus just on the number or the scale weight that you will lose, but
Right,
the healthy life you're gonna gain after this. And
right.
what people don't understand at the beginning is all the behaviors and habits that we focus on and changing through
Hmm.
our daily interaction and working together. And those
Yeah,
small incremental steps that seem so minuscule when you think, oh, it's just so small. How is this actually going to impact me at the end
yeah.
of 12 weeks? But you see it compounds like interest, right? Just keeps compounding if you're doing the
Oh
right
yeah,
things over and over.
yeah.
Yeah, and we look at a holistic view of everything, not just the weight loss. They all work
Hmm.
together synergistically, your
Yeah,
hydration, your rest, your activity, and your stress and mood levels.
yeah,
So yeah, thanks for pointing that out.
for sure.
So yeah, it was when you joined, I know it was at the start and peak of COVID because you came in January. I think just got back from Portugal, and that's when we
Yeah,
started. that's when
Yes.
things were already starting to pop up on the news. And I
Hmm.
just remember when you were in it, it was just that it was everything was exploding. We're all shut down, so we were
Yeah.
100% like indoors and online. So just curious, how your experience was with the program and how you navigated everything.
So like from the beginning and then also throughout the pandemic type of thing you're saying?
I think so. And just like how did you apply what you learned,
Yeah.
and made it fit your particular busy career and lifestyle?
Yeah. So I think, you know, the program, like when we first started, like you said, there's a learning curve, right? So you all obviously have to kind of, look at what behaviors you have, look at your eating habits and that sort of thing. And I think that that was a huge thing for me. I never used to understand what I was putting into my body. If I was hungry, I ate. If I wanted to snack or drink, but I was never um accountable. And I think that you made a really, really good analogy during the program, and I kind of just use that now, is like our what we eat in a day or what we allot for ourselves is kind of like our bank account, right? So it's almost like math. And I think that that really resonated with me because I started understanding, okay, in order for me to know what I need to do, I need to first know what is going inside of me.
Right.
And so that was huge. I never used to read back of labels. I never used to look at nutrition content. I never used to look at, calories or, grams of carbs or protein or fat, none of that. So I think one of the biggest things for me at the beginning was just understanding and being accountable for what I was putting into my body. Once I understood that, and at the beginning it is a little bit it's a lot, it's more work because you're obviously putting more effort into it and you're trying to be accountable. But closer to when I think it was getting to the point where I was really busy and I was like, how am I going to continue doing this? There was a lot of tools that you taught us that, you know, kind of gave me a very quick way to eyeball and be accountable for what I was having for that day. So I felt like I didn't have to expend so much energy trying to figure out what was I, you know, what was I consuming and also what more can I consume. So I think during that period of time when I was really busy, I became really good at kind of understanding kind of quickly what was in something and how it would then um, impact, let's say, my
Right.
daily allowance for that day.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for talking about that. Yes, awareness is the big thing that a lot of people don't understand, especially at the beginning. So for me,
Mm,
my analogy, again, going back to money, is when people want to save money or want to buy something, a house, car, or whatever, and they
mm-hmm.
don't understand their expenses and where their money is going. Without having
Right.
that under control, it's very
Yeah.
hard to reach that type of goal. So the same thing with food and how it affects our body, our weight.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't understand what's going in and the amounts, and it doesn't even really matter at the beginning whether it's what people call healthy or clean or junk,
Right.
that does come into
Right.
play, of course, but at the
Right.
beginning, if you're just over consuming, even if it's healthy, I get a lot of plant-based people who come to me and say they're healthy and they still can't lose the weight until I see what they're doing. It's just they're
Exactly.
consuming too much. Their
Yeah.
expenses are too high, right? And that's why they're going into debt or gaining
And I
weight.
think
Yeah.
I think that's actually a really good point as well that you brought up, right? Which is that we all have this idea of clean eating and healthy eating, and that fits into this tiny little box, right? And that box is like, okay, you eat nuts, you eat this, you eat fruits, you eat vegetables, you eat whatever it might be that's not your junk food. But I think what you're speaking to is really important, that you can still overconsume that stuff and it'll have the same effect as if you were going to consume, let's say, like your burger or your junk foods or whatever. And I think that that's a really great point because there is this kind of, I would say, disconnect between that, right? And so that, like, when you brought that up, it actually made me think as well, was a really big learning lesson for me too, because when I was cutting out my carbs, um, I was also eating salads that were like this big with nuts and fruits and salad dressings and everything. And I felt, hey, like I'm doing my body a favor. I'm eating clean, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. If you go to certain establishments,
Yeah.
their salads can be a lot more in terms of energy or calories than their burger. It's
It's
really
so
funny.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to speak to your point about uh different types of foods, so yeah, once the awareness is done and you understand that, then you could be more objective with food. And what I
Right.
hope to teach you guys is learning what foods to include, of course, that is overall nutrient dense or what people call healthy. And
Right.
if you could partition that and portion that and budget it into your day, then
Mm-hmm.
you could still allow yourself some things that you enjoy in moderation and like what people may call consider junk or whatever. You could still make it
Mm-hmm.
fit and you could still see that progress. And the
Mm-hmm.
great thing is, what many people do after they have that indulgence is they're going to go the next day to the gym and try to burn it off. But once you
Totally.
understand your
Totally.
budget, once you understand your budget, you have your expenses under control and you make it fit. Hey, you can go on
And
vacation. You could splurge a little. It's all good.
and yeah, and to your point of that, right? Like I think a lot it goes back to this whole psychology around food and good foods and bad foods, right? So let's just say like I can give you an example. I always have a cup of tea. I think I told you this. I have a cup of tea and a cookie or a biscuit before I go to bed every night. That's just my thing. And I felt like if that was something that I didn't have, then I would feel, like I wasn't fulfilled for the day. And so I remember talking to you about it and say like, I want to be able to keep this and fit this. And it's funny because before this I would feel guilty like, oh
Yeah.
man, I shouldn't have that cookie, right? Like why am I eating a cookie? I shouldn't eat that. But then once you understand what you're doing, you can actually enjoy that and not have any of these feelings like you're saying of like, oh god, I got to hit the gym tomorrow or whatever, because you know that you've already accounted for it, you've allotted for it, and there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah. There's that saying, once you make the unknown known, you no longer fear it. So since you have that
Ah,
awareness, that knowledge, you can eat that cookie and sleep
I like
peacefully.
that. I like that thing.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I just posted a transformation not a couple days ago, mom of four, and
Mhm.
she didn't want to go to the gym to lose the weight. That was not her thing. So we did everything through food. She lost 20 pounds, looks fantastic. Her stipulation to me was, hey, Gil, I'm gonna have an iced cappuccino every single day. That's my
There you
thing.
go.
If you're gonna take that away from me, I can't do your program. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey man, bring it on. Because you know
Yeah.
me, I love my craft beer and I have to have that too more often than not, but we make it fit. I'm not saying drink it all
Yeah.
day, but you can
Mhm.
learn to make these things fit. And we had
Totally
another
agree.
lady last time, the same year you were doing it, and a season or two after. She had her Magnum ice cream bar at
Oh,
midnight
nice.
or bed, and that's what helped her, and that's what kept her to be able to adhere to her plan because it was satisfying. She enjoyed it. She really ate well, did a plant-based majority
Right.
diet, like really healthy, but
Yeah.
saved that little bit of room for that Magnum ice cream bar, and she's doing fantastic. And just like you're doing fantastic. So I just wanted to ask you that, just to segue in, is now you're over 2 years being, I know you lost around 20, it was like 20 pounds, right? And you've maintained that. I've seen you. The
Mhm.
pictures don't even do it justice. Looking great. So what is your secret, or what keeps you successful long term?
Mm, So I think that during the program, one of my biggest things, and we talked about this a lot, was I wanted this to be sustainable. So I wanted to be able to, I didn't want to just see it as a weight loss program. I wanted to learn and I wanted to implement it and I wanted it to be part of my lifestyle. And I think that that is what I have done. So I think I don't It's funny because even to this day, people still come up to me and they'll say, "Oh, so are you still doing the Mighty Trans like, are you still doing the program?" Like, you know how people would be like, "Are you still on the Atkins diet or are you still on this diet?" So I still 2 years down the road, people still say like, "Are you still doing that Mighty Transformation?" And I try to explain to them that it's not that I'm doing it. This is the way I live my life now. There is no diet. There is no specific program. This is I've adapted my way of eating and being. And at first they find it a little bit confusing. They're like, I don't get it. And I was like, well, I took the program was the program. It gave me the tools. I got the result from it. And now I'm continuing to use the tools to live my life. So I think the thing that I would say would has made me successful is I really understood what I was talking about before, which is I didn't know what I was eating. I had no idea. I was not accountable. I didn't understand it. And now I'm pretty good at eyeballing, I know if I look at a burger or if I look at, a sandwich, I can kind of tell, where that's going to put me and I kind of just plan my day around that. So, if I know I'm going to have a big meal at night, a lot of tools that you taught us were, understanding that if we have these high calorie, high density meals, then, maybe we can allot the other calories a little bit lesser. And it's really just become about math for me. But the funny thing is as well, like I think another thing that's really made me successful, and it's going to kind of sound counterproductive, but is understanding how to manage my weight when it doesn't fit in the scale. So that was a big thing for me. At one point, I thought, okay, I'm never going to gain weight again because I've done the program and I'm great. And so I started to introduce kind of some high calorie items to see what would happen. And I started to see my weight creeping up, or, maybe went away for a weekend and came back and I started seeing the weight creeping up. And in the past, I would have been like freaking out. Oh God, need to go to the gym, need to take this weight off. But I knew that I had the tools. And then, going back to just what my daily was comfort wise, I came back to what I was comfortable at. So I think the thing to answer your question to make it successful is it's my lifestyle now. It doesn't feel like I'm doing anything that's not natural for me. And I feel so much better. I like everything is just so much better.
I love it. I love it. That's what I love to hear. Lifestyle. So
It
yeah,
is, yeah.
when everyone comes and inquires and they ask that, is there a diet or a meal plan? I'm like, no, I just want to work with the authentic you. So I tell everyone, I'm going to work with your parameters, your preferences. I'm going to show you tools and knowledge and um,
Yeah.
different ways to include things, but how you go about doing it, it's really on you to try and experiment and see what works for you. So at the end,
Yeah.
you have a
Hmm.
bespoke formula that works specifically for you. And you can call it the Super Shivani diet, the Great Gill diet, the Mighty Transfer, whatever. You can call it anything you want, but it's gonna
Yeah.
work for you. And
Yeah.
as you said, it's a lifestyle. And I think when you have that formula, like, and you can go away, have fun at a vacation, gain weight. It doesn't matter because you have the tools. As soon as you get back, you just go back on track with what you're doing and everything normalizes. And again,
Yeah.
it's that making that unknown known. So once you have that
Totally.
tool and that's something in the back of your head that works, you no
Yeah.
longer fear it. So that's what my birthday's
And
coming up, and I normally eat from now till New Year's. I just
yeah.
have fun, and because there's a
Do
lot of
it.
social outings, I'm not going to worry. I'll gain 5, 10
Amazing.
pounds even. But January comes back and I'm just go back to my normal routine and everything just normalizes. So it's such a
And
great feeling.
it
Fearless
is.
eating.
And it's so liberating, I feel, right? Because like you said, like, you know, there's so many things in our life that, we might not have control over because of whatever might happen. But to know that you can have control over your own health and as much as you can, I mean, unless there's something bad that happens, but what you can control in your health, that you have
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
ability to manage and tweak that so that you can be the healthiest you that you can possibly be. Like you said, it's priceless. There's nothing more rewarding, I would think, than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you because all the people that you referred have done really fantastic. And we were just speaking before this call about your aunt who joined too, and she was kind of lost and not knowing what to do. And
Mhm.
just working with her now, just 8 weeks, we're 8 weeks in, and she lost about 10 pounds, but it's not even the weight. I mean, she looks fantastic. I just had a call with her. But her blood sugars are normal. They're at the
Mhm.
very high level, and then her liver is not inflamed, and she's just feeling fantastic. And she's like, "Oh, you know what? I don't know if it's superficial, but my joints don't hurt anymore. I don't know if that's just in my head." But I'm like, "No, that's not in your head. This is actually real.
Real.
You lost
It's
that weight.
real.
She looks great, and she just there's a nice step to her. And again, I think it's just that she now has control. It's no longer
Or
something that's a mystery, or she was going down this path. I felt that she didn't know what to do. And,
yeah,
thank you for kind of being the catalyst. She saw you and then she reached out to me.
yeah.
So I just want to ask you about that. Because people, I guess, know, love, and trust you. Who do you feel this program could be for? I know generically it can work for anyone, but what do you
Hmm.
feel deep down? Like, who could this be? Someone who could really, truly benefit from it?
From this program,
Yeah.
um, like you said, everybody. But if I have to, if I have to hone in on it, I would say one thing that I think you definitely would need for this program is you got to be motivated. You got to be motivated to want to make a change. You know, this this program is for somebody who, I think that has tried things previously and not just, kind of like, you know, kind of not half-assed it, sorry, but but has tried many things. Like I can
Yes.
only use myself as an example, or some of my friends that I have um uh, told to go to MT. But somebody who has tried things before, has maybe tried the exercise, tried the weight. And the reason I say that this program is for everyone, because I don't think there's a single person in this world that doesn't think about their weight, whether it be underweight, overweight, middle weight. Everybody has something about their weight that they, you know, um, have something to say about. Like there's that old saying, you don't ever ask a woman her weight or her age, right? So same
Right.
kind of thing, right? There's this thing that we all know that it is kind of this secret topic that nobody really wants to talk about, but we're all trying to manage it and battle it on our own, right? So I think this program is for people who really want not just to lose weight and that's it, but want to learn um, why we gain weight, why we lose weight, what effects do different foods have in our body. That was a big thing for me, right? Like, what are the function of carbs, fat, and sugars in our body? What is, the difference between a high calorie item, or calorie dense item, and a non-calorie dense item? You know, I think it's good for people who really want a holistic approach to their weight. And it might seem like it's a bit of work up front, and I'm not going to lie about that, but it is 1001% worth it. And so anybody ever that came to me during this program, sorry, that wanted to do the program, they would all call me and ask me, okay, Shwani, tell me about this. And I would be very upfront and very frank with them. And you told me the same thing. If you put the work in, you will see the results. Simple as that. And so everybody that I have at least spoken to and referred to you, Gil, I have told them it's a great program. Gil is an incredible mentor, but you have to be the captain of your ship. If you don't put the work in, you're not going to see the results. And if you do put the work in, I promise you will see the results, because that's what this program um, is about, right? So I think number one, people who are motivated. Number two, people who are willing to put time and investment into themselves, not just for the short term, but this will be for the long term. And also people who are willing to be open, learn, and then implement that in their life. I think those are the people that would really benefit from this program. So practically everybody.
With those qualities, yeah, and
With
yeah,
those qualities.
yeah, No, thank you for that. You're right. So when people do inquire, and I do tell them up front, or when I do interviews now with everyone
Mhm.
who wants to join in. I tell them, yeah, it's work because change, when you do a real change, like you mentioned earlier, it does require looking in and
Yeah.
seeing where the struggles or flaws are, making yourself accountable to that, to me.
Mhm.
And it's not for judgment, it's just for me to help you go through it,
Yeah.
and then be willing to take those steps every single day, working with me every single day to make those
Mhm.
changes. And
Mhm.
I don't expect perfection, as you know, but all my only rule was show up every day. That's it.
That's
Just
it.
put in those steps every day, even if you fall, make
That's it.
mistakes. I encourage that because that's
Yeah.
sometimes when you learn the most
Yeah.
about yourself. But if you pick
Yeah.
yourself up and keep going and you see it through to the end, I
Mhm.
guarantee that you will have a fabulous transformation, and not just the external one, but internal one. And I think once you have that
Totally.
internal transformation, that's the one that's going to carry you long term. Externally, we're
That's
all going
it.
to change as we age or whatever, but the
Mhm.
internally, when you know you have it and you have that control, it's
Yep.
such a beautiful feeling, and it's so hard to describe once you've gone through it. And once you have it
Yeah.
and you know you have it, you feel like on top of the world. And that's
Yeah.
what I see through you and resonating through you. And I think that's why so many people are attracted to you. And why, when they say, oh, what is she doing? And like,
Mhm.
how is she doing this? And
Mhm.
I just want to say thank you for being a huge inspiration to many ladies, not just your aunt, but to everyone, because the ones that I've worked with who were stuck or in a dark place and didn't know what to do, they trusted you and you pointed them to me and they put their trust in me. And so many of
Mhm.
them fantastic. And the changes, everyone has their own unique story, of course. Can't
Yeah.
go through all of them right now in this call, but uh, all the all the stories are so unique, but all important. And just to know that
Definitely.
there's hope for them or they can change no matter what stage they're in,
Yeah.
it brings so much joy to me. And I just want to thank you because this is my passion. And you're
Mhm.
feeding my passion when you send me all
Oh,
these fantastic ladies. So thank you so much.
course. And I mean, I obviously will take this moment as well to thank you as well, right? I mean, like I said before, right? We have to put the work in, but you can't put the work in unless you have a solid mentor. Mentors are so important in life, whether they be in your work, in your life, in your career, whatever it might be. But I feel like I have such an appreciation and respect for mentors because it is not easy to be a mentor. It takes a lot of time also on your end, right? And I think that's another thing actually that I wanted to talk about, where when people, come to me and they ask me like, what's the program about? And I think a huge, huge, huge plus of this program, because there are other programs out there that you can probably patch into apps, whatever it might be, to help with weight loss. And there's information out there. I mean, that's a very common question that I get. Well, couldn't you have just done this online and found the information yourself? And yeah, that's totally true, but there is such a richness when you have a mentor, and a mentor like you, Gil, who honestly, like, we might try to show up every day, but you 1000% show up every day, and that was a huge thing. You were so available. You were very involved. We always felt like we were being supported, or at least I did in the program. There wasn't a moment ever where I felt like, oh man, I'm doing this on my own. You were there with us every step of the way. And like you said, you know, we were going to make mistakes, and we did. And I think at the beginning, I tried my best to try and impress you as much as I could. And I realized, and I think you told me, just be yourself. Don't try and change things because you think I want to see them or hear them and that sort of thing. And that, I was like, okay, cool, you're right. I gotta just put what it is. And as soon as I did that, that's when the magic started happening, because I started learning, and you started teaching me, and that teaching and that teaching moment only happen because of the passion that you have for what you do. So I have to say thank you for me and probably everybody else that I've sent over to you, because you really are an incredible mentor. And every person that has finished your program has come back to me and said the exact same thing, that he is so present, he is so aware, and it is so, we respect it so much. So I want you to know that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's like I said, it's a passion for me. I've gone through nth transformations and I knew how hard and lonely it can be. And I never
Mhm.
want that experience for anyone on my
Right,
program. And
right.
when I was doing this and developing it, that was one of the goals, was to provide that support. It's not cookie cutter. I don't want to just give you a manual and show up once a week. I want to be
Right.
there every day. I want to be like in your back pocket, except for when I'm sleeping, but I'm
No, but
accessible anytime. I mean,
it
because I
felt
know
like
how,
that though, which is
yeah,
amazing. It
yeah, like
was like your
yeah,
own
no,
personal nutrition,
that,
like your own personal, trainer in your diet. It was
yeah.
amazing.
And that's what I want to differentiate myself from
Yeah,
everyone, because I want to make sure everyone's supported. And
for sure.
I think it's been great because we've grown now into 23 countries. So it can be
Amazing.
done anywhere and I'll support you anywhere. It's like no distance
Amazing.
too far, as long as you're serious about your goals. We're here to help.
Exactly. Yeah,
Oh man,
totally.
thanks so much, Shiv. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Mhm.
And holy, maybe we'll do this yearly. Keep seeing how you're doing.
Hopefully I'll be the same.
Yeah. Uh,
But yeah, no, definitely, definitely. And I mean, thank you also, for doing this, for coming up with this program. Like you said, weight loss can sometimes be a very lonely journey. And the fact that we have you, but also, the group that I had, the group of girls that I had was incredible, because, we were able to kind of feed off of each other. We gave each other tips and chatted. And so it was just, even 2 years down the road, like I can just keep talking about this, because it was probably one of the best decisions, and one of the best journeys I've been on, because I'm the type of person where I like to continuously learn and develop and challenge myself. And I think that this was one of the good challenges of my life. And I'm very happy that I did it.
Thanks, Shiv. So happy you're a part of our program. You've been such an inspiration to many of the ladies, and you probably saved someone's life because of what you did in helping them. So thank you. That's what we call a positive ripple effect, and the goal again is just to reach as many people who want it, who need it, and
Exactly.
feel lost. That's what we're here for. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Shiv. Have a great night. Okay. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye.